Ooh. Shiny gameplay, everyone. So, I've got about... Ooh, where are we here? I've got about an hour and a half's worth of footage, but that could be like a 3-hour stream, because I'm not going to play the whole thing continuously. I'm going to stop and talk about it and interact with you lot. So, we'll see how we go. So, Delicious22, thank you so much for the tier 1, 24-month subscription. Ding ding. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. What am I thinking of doing here? I'm gonna carry on. I want to get back up, so I will. Thanks, Brian. Matty STTV as well. Thank you for the Twitch Prime. Couple of dings for you. Griffo, good afternoon. So, before we get started, I've got to say that this was on a early build of FM. This is not the finished game. This is not the beta. This was on an early build. I was invited down, as well as some other creators, to the Capture event in their studios in London, and recorded all sorts of bits and pieces. I've done a video which you can find on my channel today, where I talk about, quite honestly, some of the things that I like and don't like about the game, and things that I think we should be expectant of, and things that we shouldn't be expectant of. You know, there's lots to talk about. Holy smokes. Dan OD, thank you for the Twitch Prime. 35 months, Dan. Big time. Coggles with the Twitch Prime. You'd have to see it. And Boehner, thank you so much for the 8-month streak as well. Yeah, but what's up? Just put to New York with the phone next year. Super excited. If you've got any questions, my friend, I'm here for you. So, are we all aware of the ground rules? This is not me playing live. This is not the beta. The beta is not out. There is no beta date. There never has been. There never will be. But there will be a point in which it obviously releases, and they will let you know when that is. Okay? Good? Good. So, let's hit play, so we can watch through what I did while at Sports Interactive, and yeah, talk through things you might have seen. Now, obviously, if you've got any questions, fire in. I can now answer basically anything. So, you know, as long as I can pretty much answer anything. Penguin CFC, thank you for the 11 months. Do you think this FM looks too much like FM19 and doesn't feel fresh? It absolutely looks like, or similar to at least, FM19. And as I said in the video, really, that if you're a short-term player, whereas you only play for a couple of years, or you play like one season saves, you will not get the benefit of this. If you like this game, I've got to be honest, you won't. But if you play long-term, there's some of the biggest changes that we've seen in a very, very long time. And I think that if you play, if you play for 10 years, for example, you will really see the benefits of things like the development center. Obviously, you've got your Club Vision there now, which we'll look at in just a moment. This is me just setting up a game for me to play with Ajax, because they're licensed. so you can use Ajax. Are you going to sign Marky Fletcher in your Glue Hunter save? If he was a real person, maybe. The difference between the inside forwards and the inverted winger. So an inside forward will look to try and get in the box. I might highlight that in the stream at some point, like during the video. But yeah, an inside forward will try and attack further forward, get into the box, take more risks. Whereas an inside forward will go forward in the same way that a player... I'm not sure if I can say player names. I mean, as long as I don't show it on the stream, I think it's fine. Basically, a creative winger rather than an attacking winger. Do you get what I'm saying with that? I'm pretty sure I can probably say it and no one's going to be cross. But yeah, like the inverted winger is more of a playmaker than someone that's looking to get into the box and score. They maybe linger a little bit further outside the box and to pass, to assist and create for others. So yeah, so there is a difference. It's a pretty minor difference, don't get me wrong. It's a pretty minor difference. This was me deciding which profile to go with. I went for the taller one because I wanted to feel a bit more manly. These screens are very similar to what we've seen before. Obviously you can change. I think I go for motivator because I'm a motivator. You know, you look at me, okay, there you are, look, what a memory. Was there any other questions there? Do you think this game is discriminatory to those with ADD? I don't know. How does Miles take his tea? I didn't see him drink a cup of tea, but there you can see, look, new screens straight away, breaking news. Ajax hire Benji. You then have a new club screen where you can see the training facilities, youth facilities, the youth recruitment, obviously the background. Then you get a little team report screen. Like, I think this is good. I might make it like... Video content's tricky to make because you don't really know what people want, and if you go too niche, people aren't really bothered. That's why I think the video I did today was probably the best video I could have done. But how often do you go to a club when you think, I'm going to start at this team, and you go in, and before you even like start the game, you're like, I don't really know who the players are. This screen helps you with that. You immediately know like the preferred system or the recommended system and the recommended players to play in that system to give you like a strong 11. Yeah, and you can see like I do like that a lot. It's a really good screen. And Ajax are like, they've got some really good players, and they've got loads of money, Ajax, this year as well, like loads of money. I don't think this will be on YouTube now. It might be if it's on YouTube, hi YouTube. I could upload it. There's nothing to stop me uploading it, so I mean I could do. Are there things you want to talk about yet? Yeah, kind of. But if you ask the right questions, it won't matter. If you say player names to Smiles block you on Twitter, no. I think Miles only blocks people that deserve to be blocked. And Callum, based on your 3 comments so far, I can see that maybe you're someone that has been blocked because you just go in. You go in for it big time, aren't you? Chelsea transfer banned, yes, because they are in real life. That's the general rules. Okay, here we are. First bit of pausing needs to occur. With the club vision thing, what do people think about the club vision stuff then? Are you happy with that? Like, every single team has a distinct way of playing it, like the club culture, play attacking football, play entertaining football, develop players using the club's youth system. 3 things that I think are pretty synonymous, right, with Ajax. You will tend to think that's pretty common. When you are the bigger sides, and I mentioned this in my video this morning, like, obviously, it's quite clear with a team like Ajax, they want to win the Eredivisie, and that's kind of that. They want to do okay in the Champions League. They want to get at least, like, you know, get to the group stage, get through the playoff period. I think for a team that gets to the semis, it's kind of unfair, isn't it? It's a bit harsh. No, Brexit isn't in from the start because Brexit hasn't happened yet. So, no. So there'll be obviously a Brexit outcome, but that's very fluid at the moment. It's quite difficult for Football Manager. Yeah, Dutch Cup, reach the final, things like that. And then obviously just continuing to win the league is sort of the go-to. So yeah, but I'm pretty sure here I get a 2-year deal. So you don't get a 5-year deal for your 5-year plan, but you get a slightly longer deal. Right, let's see if we've got any questions. FMs have become easier and easier over the years to get new players in. FM19 was arguably the easiest one yet. Is this one even easier from what you've seen? Yeah, there was inductions last year. They brought in the inductions. I'm sure I did videos on them, so yeah, maybe you're familiar. Backroom staff have had a little change. They've got a lot more of a role this year with the responsibilities, and there's some new staff roles. Loan manager is a thing. There's another one as well. I can't remember what it is now, but there's another one. Where's the other one? Technical director. Technical directors are certainly a thing now, so you can hire people like Stuart Webber, you know, people like that. Do Bolton have minus 12 points at the start of the season? Yes. There's all the inductions, so you can see there's lots to go through. Development centre induction is something you're probably going to want to do. Backroom staff induction is probably something you're going to want to do. Scouting induction, you probably don't need. Transfer induction, maybe. There's a few tweaks to how players are contacted and transferred, and I mean, I try and sign some players in this, so we'll see that as we go through. Tactics induction, not massively necessary this year. Team report, again, you might just want it anyway, right? But yeah, some of these aren't like majorly important this year. I'll wait to see what I feel about the versions, about the visions mechanics to the end of the first season. Got you. I think it looks like a very new and refreshing start to a career now. I think it'll make you understand the club a bit more. Yeah, of course, this now, like before, you'd have to wait for your inbox to do things like this. So to schedule your press conference, to meet the media, arrange an inter-squad friendly for tomorrow's test squad, and send the advice report to the backroom staff. You just get that there. You can decide there if you want them all or you don't want them all. Doddle, really. Far better. Like, again, far more intuitive. I'm sure there'll be moments, like, because obviously I was playing in a room of people, so there'll be moments where I was talking to other people where I won't do anything, but I can just sort of skip forward every now and again. I'm debating whether I want the squad friendly. Do I want the squad friendly? No, I don't. And there's a few other bits I did there. And then the save scheme. I do think the faces, like regen faces, have had quite a lot of talk. Of course, your manager profile, as well as the Raymond Bosch press officer. Like, they're certainly better than last year, right? Like, they're far better than last year. I think we can all agree with that. No one's going to argue that, I don't think. Yeah, it looks nice. I like it. And again, you've got your inductions that you've selected. Hopefully I paused on Code of Conduct, because Code of Conduct is new. Again, if you've watched the FM streams already, like obviously they've got one on their YouTube channel now, they did it on Twitch. They've obviously put out videos as well. You've got your, you know, last year's contract sort of thing, training inductions. I don't think I do either of these because I don't need them. But the code of conduct is quite a big thing. Again, this was something I was going to mention in the video. I'm a bit torn for what to do for videos at the moment. I've got lots of footage, like this, for example. I could cut all of this IX stuff up and use it in a certain way. But the code of conduct is good. Your captain basically brings you a code of conduct, and you've got like a selection of fines. So you can have just a warning, can be one of them. You can have a day fine, like so they would obviously divide the week by 7, and you would get fined for that particular day. Half a week fine, 1 week, 2 week. So and obviously the more severe it gets, the more brutal the fine becomes, basically. But I was having to play around with these. Yeah, it was a little bit. Some of the menus are a bit buggy, but again, early alpha, like you can't really. It says it in the bottom right hand corner. I don't know if you can actually see that. So it's to be expected, really. And I think it's the sort of thing that's fixed almost straight away, because you point it out to the guys and they're like, yeah, we'll get on that. Going forward, the lit Wonder Kid. There's the surprise. But yeah, the code of conduct's nice because it means you don't have to it just does it automatically. I will say as well on code of conduct, you don't have to have the code of conduct, right? Like you can have with the code of conduct, you can just not have it and find players as they do things. Like you don't have to use it. In fact, if you go back a little bit there, if you just go back to where are we? I've gone way too far back. Right, so on that, you can see at the bottom, hopefully you can just about see that, it says ask Michael Rising to pick, who I think is my assistant, right? Reset changes or skip code of conduct, which essentially means that it's not a thing, and again, you can just do it as and when you feel like it. So, that works. People might have noticed Zebra Turin. I'm pretty sure I can use the phrase Zebra Turin. Used to watch YouTube series religiously when I was younger. Don't have much time to play watch anymore, but still get really hyped every year for the game. Watch my new series. My fan, watch them. They're brilliant. But yeah, you can see there we've got the squad. Like these screens, I can't pretend they're really different because they're not. But like, I do think it's funny, isn't it? Right? People just want change. They don't really care what the change is. They just want change. This is a pretty good screen. I could have had the attribute polygons. Sorry, that'll make people cross. Right? But this is a pretty good screen. There's not too much to this screen that I would realistically want to change. So, and I mean, people in the chat, you might have an idea, right, of what you would want to see different in the game. But there's not too much there that I'm like, oh, I wish we had this or that. Like, and again, people create skins and stuff, don't they? But it's pretty good. That's why I'm concerned. I will say, Taglifico looks amazing. Like, he's a bit like he's 26, so he's not like a wonder kid or anything. But if you're like a top European side and you think you can poach like a solid left back, you can increase his wages by loads as well, can't you? Like, he'd be a really good player to get, I reckon. So it's one of those things, like, you don't have to do anything. Findings, so you've put there, finding system has a makeover. I mean, I feel they're just changing things for the sake of changing. I would ask everyone that thinks there's not enough changes this year, right? And I'm partially in that as well. I hope there was like some radical change somewhere because it's just exciting, isn't it? But, you know, I also don't really know what that would be. So what would you want it to see? I'm interested. I honestly would love to see some kind of live stat increase show over time so you can see the numbers of how players developed. I was looking at that Turbo XPI grid thing. There is that sort of where you can go back and look to see how much they've improved over 6 months or a year or 2 years. So there's that. Are there any features on Switch 2? I would assume so, but I don't know so don't quote me on it. But it'd be weird for them not to improve the Switch version. We didn't see or play the Switch version. All these new games of FM just seem more like a patch than a new game, but we all know that is not how things work in real life. I've seen that a lot, right? People describing it as DLC and things like that. What do you want? What do you want them to change radically so the game feels different? I'm asking because if I go again next year, I can put these things to them. But I sort of asked around this year, and people just sort of didn't have an answer necessarily. Youth development was a big one. Like the development centre goes a long way, I think, to putting something in there that people really want. So You know, that makes sense. I think this is me putting together like the way I want my squad view to look. So we'll just let me do that. Past me do that. But I'm trying to find all the things I normally have, and I'm forgetting what it is I actually normally want. So that's good. So it goes well for ages. Youth coaching. In what sense? The main thing I've taken from any of these first glances was that when Miles said they're already about to start from 2023, which amazes me that they plan that far in advance. Well, if he said it, he said it. I honestly don't feel like it's much of an upgrade for FM19 for the casualist players. I agree. I don't disagree, and I don't have to agree. Like, as I said in my video, hopefully I won't say that phrase too much, right? If you play the game for a year, 2 years, 3 years, then there isn't a lot of like radical change. Are there loads of little changes, features, however you want to describe it, that make the game feel better and run better? Absolutely, right? There are loads of those little things, and when you collate all of those things and put it into one thing, it's definitely an improvement on last year's game. The problem I think they've got a little bit, it's just nice to be able to talk about it. I think last year's game was really good. It was maybe too good. And they got it to a point now where the only changes they can make, especially this year, 1 year afterwards, are quite, some people would say minor. Maybe I would say minor. But it's a yearly game. It's funny, I don't know what people would prefer. Would you prefer it to come out every 2 years and then you don't have a year like this? Or, and I guess what people, I know what people would probably prefer. They would like it to be a tenner this year. But that's not going to happen. That's not how it works. Lungle, thank you so much for the 5 months, my friends. I appreciate it. Welcome aboard. It would be cool to be able to start as a youth coach and work your way up. I entirely disagree, but I totally get what. I'll explain why I disagree, I guess. Thank you, Lungle. I'll tell you why I disagree. That'd be really boring. All you would get to do are the tactics, and that is pretty much it. You have no say if your players get promoted to a first team or a 23s. Like, I don't know why. I just don't know why people would want that. I've never really understood it. I get the idea of like realism, right? I understand that there's a lot of coaches that start off like that. There's also a lot of coaches that don't start like that. But it's Football Manager. It's not Youth Coach Manager. And I think it would be. I just think you'd be bored, honestly. I think you'd be so bored because all you'd be able to do is tactics. How long would you play that for before you're like? Or like, you can't make transfers, you can't ask the board for anything, right? You can't hire staff, you can do nothing. Like, I don't know what, yeah, I don't really know what the point would be. And you've got to remember it's a game as well. What's the one thing you don't like about the game? What's the one thing I don't like about the game? It's a good question. I think the overall UI could be different. I don't absolutely love the purple, but I've got the option to change the purple if I want to. I think the UI has been the same for a little while now, and I think freshening that up could have gone a long way to making a lot more people happy in regards to a new game. I think that's one thing that people look at it off the bat and they go, it's the same game. And they look at it and they don't look what's behind like some of the other screens. And they've already concluded, based on their first look, that, oh, it looks the same. And as a content creator, that can be quite frustrating because I can, like, it's basically... someone who doesn't know about the game will say it's a data update with a development center. And that's kind of all they'll say. Because that's what they... And Club Vision, right? Because that's all they can see. Where there's obviously a lot more to it than that. There's obviously a lot more to it than that. But I hope you appreciate that I'm being honest about it. I think it's good. Like, I don't want anyone to twist anything I've said. I think it's a really good version of the game. I wish it had got on a bit more. And I'm sure there's people who work there that think the same. And I'm sure, in fact, probably everyone like always wants to do the most that they can. But they've improved a lot of core features and they've fixed a lot of core features to work better than they did last year. So I think that's a good thing. The beta is not out. I'm not playing live. This is a pre-recording from the weekend on an early build of the game. This is not the finished product of the game. But I'm allowed to show it and talk about it. So we are doing. Did I do anything for ages? Where did I go? Okay. I finally started. I don't know where I went. You talked about using a skin last year. Do you think you'll use one this year? I'll probably use the default dark again. That's the skin I tend to use. Yeah, they're very good, Modern Man. They're very good. Some of them are very, very good. I guess the main gripe every year, the degree of change varies in effective improvement for the players. Yet the price still stays the same, so it continues to feel alienated at times. That's all. I guess my only response to that is, if you don't think that this game is much of an improvement on the previous game, if you genuinely feel like that, despite everything you've seen from creators this week, and from what they've said, and the features they've announced, then you do have an option. Like, there is an alternative option to buying it. Like, so it's up to you, isn't it? Again, hopefully at some point. Am I playing? Okay, that's partially why nothing's happening then. Have goalkeeper ratings improved? I mean, on the build that we played, no. Will he continue? Will he be using the time before the beta to continue the City series on your other channel? Yes, I keep saying this though, so don't believe me, but I will endeavour to do more. Okay, so here we get to actually discuss some of our Club Vision stuff. I was basically testing to see if I could remove some of the club culture stuff, and I could. Whether that goes into the final game or not, I don't think it will. We were basically trying to break it. That's partially why we were there, right? We were partially trying to just see what we could find so they can fix. We were basically like testers for a weekend. I appreciate the work they do on the game, and if people don't think it's enough, then just wait a year about every second or something. I'm sure lots of people do that. I didn't, James. No, I kept that a secret. Because I like it. But I could be wrong. Did they mention whether the demo would run the same way this year? I'm going to be totally honest, the Jinx Zone, and you're not going to like my answer. I haven't played a demo for... I don't know when I last played the demo, so... And I think everyone that was there didn't ask about this. Sorry that we didn't do the demo community very well. Addicted Bunny, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime, my friends. We played for about... I mean, we could have played for 12 hours, I would say. Hopefully, I'm doing my best to answer the best I can. Oh, Brian going in there with, is the beta out? Excellent. Quick question. Has anyone else noticed that strikers are very unreliable in one-on-ones when they come clean through on goal? Most goals tend to come from first-time shots. Any changes to that? Just curious. Yes. We'll see shirts be back. If you want one, I can sort it out. I think they're as cheap as they're ever going to be right now as well. I don't think I can make them any cheaper. You'll see as we get to some gameplay stuff. Obviously, I've got some matching and stuff coming up as well. As I was doing my pre-match, there are people get very upset about press conferences and things like that, so they want to change. They are better. I also like these screens behind where you can see like the chairs. They're just nice. But yeah, there was my new manager at press conference. We all know they're pretty much the same, right? Nice plant, thanks, man. I appreciate that. And there's the following matches for television. When you're Ajax, you're on television. Have the network bugs been acknowledged or fixed? If you look at Miles's Twitter today, he basically outlined in like 4 or 5 tweets. I think there were shares in FM19, yeah, but I think there's more for other things as well this year. Are there any new positions / roles? You have inverted wingers playing slightly further forward. Other than that, there are no other positional or role changes. Is there one that you would have liked, Sneaky Woodpecker? We were discussing one actually at the studios. The second Alicard was talking about it, where he would quite like there to be like a blank striker that you can do anything with. So he's not got a role. He's basically custom in that sense, and he can do whatever instructions you tell him. Because obviously some of them conflict, and you can't do certain things. But he would like it if that's. I thought that was a cool idea. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I would wonder how it would break the engine though, and that's kind of why I concluded that yeah, there's a reason that's not a thing. Kit sponsorship deal, Ben. Click on it. Click on it. 2.1 million. No, they've still got wide playmakers, but you're not far off, Shuffbury. You're not far off. You're not far off. Okay, you got your. Oh yeah, this screen's slightly new. I mean, again, they've moved it, and you're probably going to go, who cares? But again, quality of life, and I think that's a phrase that creators and whatnot will use this year. It's far easier now to see what you are and aren't allowed when it comes to squad registration. There'll be lots of people who will simply go, waste of time, not a point. But again, you've got to remember there are like hundreds of these. You know, there are hundreds of these. Favorite new feature, the way the new gen regens. Kevin, thank you so much for your 23-month subscription, by the way. The F2 free start is from 20. I don't believe so, no. But yeah, FM20 has a lot of, say, quality of life things. And it's just nice to see this, rather than it being like squidged down the bottom. It now makes the selection process seem a little bit more... Again, it's just easier. It's just easier on the eye, you know? I think I didn't even do it. I just went, yeah, you pick it. Ben, Ben, and myself, and a friend play pretty much an online save more than we play on saves. Same divisions. Anyone fancy tasking us with first teams to say? Can't even read. Fancy tasking us with our first save teams in FM20. Anyone you like? I don't know. I'll try and find a derby in like League 2. That sounds like a fun idea. Tactics, as I mentioned in my video, are largely the same. There is a little change, and again, that's something I mentioned in the video, in regards to analysis of the squares that are on the tactics screen that we've not had before. But all these tactical styles are the same. And as I said it before, with player roles, right? It's annoying there isn't like a custom player role that you can sort of do whatever you want with. With tactics, of course, you can kind of still do whatever you want with those. It's a free roam. I think someone mentioned the game has got easier in recent years. I think that's a factor. I think being able to plug and play tactics and styles, I think that's changed it a lot. I think that's made the game more what's the phrase? More accessible. This is recorded, yes. But if you've got any questions about anything you see on the screen, let me know. The colour things, the preferences are still the same. The preferences screen is actually different, but yeah, generally the same. Did they turn down Air Gegenpress? I'll just be completely honest. We didn't play it nearly long enough to know. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if they need to tone down Gegenpress or make everything else stronger. That's a debate, isn't it? Right? Like, that's the sort of thing they will know, but I don't know. I don't know. Ajax still have a really good team, especially for the division they're in. The squad registration UI, it looks nice. It would save me hours back in the day in FM14. Yeah, it's just a lot. Again, it's a lot cleaner. And I'm sure we'll see things as we go through that are new. I'm going to try and make sure I spot everything. But again, if you've got any questions, fire them in. I'll do my best to answer. I don't need to see me pick a squad for ages. I was straight away thinking, do we go strikerless? But then I was getting concerned by, right, so you can see here, look. I don't know which, I've clicked a square at the top. So it shows the medium influence. I'll use my other mouse for this. Medium influence, if they're in areas, will frequently cut inside the ball into that particular space. So on the pitch, that's where it's saying he will go. Of course, now this is where the inside forwards and the inverted wingers come into play. They probably, an inverted winger probably won't go into that space frequently. So it's that sort of thing, you see. It's that sort of thing. how you playing this. This is a pre-recorded version of FM20 that I played this weekend at the offices of Football Manager. And I thought I would talk to you all about it. And again, it gives you an idea. So that one there is a good example. I mean, can we go back a little bit? That's a good example of some of these screens have like a lot of information, especially the ones with negative influence. So you can see high negative influence. There's nobody currently responsible for this area of the pitch, right? Because we've got a player like Ziyech who's going forward into those spaces. Neres is sort of there, as you can see there. And Marin, like, he's responsible for the area of the pitch, but it's like, it's not his direct area because he's playing as a deep line playmaker on defensive duty. He's more worried about the area behind him than he is the area in front of him. So you find out far more about which areas, and obviously it's risk reward, right? It's always been like that. It's like you might think, well, I don't care about that because I'm trying to exploit space in different places. But but it's all role based. Someone said there, can you train them to run into areas? It's all role based. So Van der Beek's not set in that position because he's box to box. So that area is an area of weakness. I may well click it actually. I guess if we do, I'll try and pause. I can't remember. Yes, so I do there. Look. You can see Van der Beek will drop back in and help the defence while playing as a box-to-box midfielder. In the same way that he'll go forward, he'll go back. But there's nobody responsible for that area of the pitch. Although, of course, it doesn't mean he'll never be there, right? Like, it just means he won't be there all the time. But I love these. I think this is again, this is the sort of addition. You look at the game and you go, it's the same shit. But I like that you can look at this and you can see where you've got positive and negative influence, and that's my like biggest area of weakness. You'll notice the spot just behind Mazraoui, probably not said like that, apologies if you're Dutch, right? Because he's an attacking fullback, there is basically, they're saying there is space in behind there, you're taking that gamble. Equally, the influence he has in front of him is slightly stronger because he's playing on attack duty. Get it? Good. This is not the beta is now out. This is a pre-early build, like an early edition of the game, an alpha version of the game that I had access to at the weekends. So no, the beta is not out. Any stadium improvements? Marginal, nothing major. Like, again, they look better than they did last year, but it's negligible, I would say, with that. We will get to some gameplay at some point, so we can talk about the engine, because there's loads of misconceptions about the engine, and I'm looking forward to talking about them. Jordan, the designer, I'm really sorry. Oh, sorry, I thought you were telling me to move to the development center. You're answering the question of what happened to the 23s. The 23s and the 19s, or the youth teams generally, are now all in the development center. At some point, I do go and have a look at that, so we will be able to investigate. I'm not sure when though. We'll skip forward a little bit. Again, these screens I mentioned in my video today are exactly the same. I don't think there's a single difference, but it also goes into the idea of the player profile screens, right? Like, these are pretty good. There's not a great deal you can change with what we've got here. I think in the future, these will become a little bit more fluid. I think that's what I would like personally. I would like to see these screens become more fluid. They feel a little bit too rigid for me. And I wish there was a little bit more that we could do with them. Like, it feels like you're not pigeonholed the wrong word, because you're not, because you can still kind of pick whatever you want, and like the passing directness and the tempo have a massive say over everything else, right? So that's pretty normal. But I would quite like there to be, again, a little bit more fluidity. But the in possession, in transition and stuff, they look the same. So King Bad Bob, good afternoon. Thank you so much for your subscription. Welcome back. Do you know if morale is bipolar that could make or break your season? Again, gotta be honest, we didn't play it nearly long enough to know. One thing I did notice though is that once your players get on a bit of a roll, the momentum can last for quite a while, so that may well play into your theory about morale. I certainly found that with the Ajax save at points. So yeah, again folks, any questions? I will do my best to answer. Oh, well, the staff responsibility screen looks like they look a lot different. I think it's to make it clearer as to what you're asking them to do, which I do think is good. Like, I think for a long time, some of these responsibility screens have just sort of existed, and you do it at the start of the game and then you never really touch it again. It's a little bit more malleable now. That was a good screen. I'm going to try and catch it again. I was too soon. I was too soon. So your team report now, it sort of goes more in depth. So we mentioned the squares before. The report on that now is even more in depth, and the squares are obviously a lot more obvious. And of course you get your report as well. But I've not played any matches really at this point, so it's one of them. How they made any improvements to AI transfers, both buying and selling, could be ridiculous last year. Now, interesting question. I don't know if anyone else at Football Manager or at the capture event tested or looked for this, but I did. And from what I could tell, the transfer fees are significantly lower than in previous years. I simulated into the future a little bit, and some of the boys went further in than me, so they would be able to give you maybe a better idea or understanding. But I think transfer fees have come down overall. I think the average player still goes for more than they should, especially in like top tier divisions. But some of the top end players go for more reasonable fees. Like the Neymar days appear to be over. So I don't think it's massive, and I'm like, of course you could still spend crazy amounts, but I went a little bit into the future. I looked at the leading transfers, and I don't think I saw one over 100 million. So, and I'm sure it does happen. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure it is still possible, but it didn't seem as frequent, which I thought was interesting. So again, I didn't go 10 years in, and maybe 10 years in it would feel something different. Has the movement of the deep line forward false line improved in FM19? They charge forward on winning possession. Again, it's not. I'm really sorry. This is not what you want to hear, but I didn't test that, so I don't know. It wasn't something I was looking for, I'm afraid. What I was basically doing with this, the reason I'm streaming this, is because I was playing this as if like I would play it normally, like almost at the start of a game. Not super in depth, but like I was wanting to see certain things and just see how it all operates. And again, you've got all your things you can delegate to other staff members, all the staff members. That provides opposition instructions, that one. I let Rising do it. And then, of course, you've got your team selection advice panel here, where it suggests players to come in instead of the players that have already got selected. You don't have to do that. You can completely ignore it, but it's suggested there. And again, you get a little bit of information about each player. And then some of the changes that we've made. So they wanted to bring Daily Blind in. They wanted to move Ziyech slightly further back. I think they just changed Ziyech and Van der Beek round, which obviously I didn't want to do, but they seem to think that was a good idea. I think it's because of Van der Beek's qualities in the final third. I don't think Ziyech should ever play that deep, so I didn't want to do that. 9FM20 question: can we get games abandoned or postponed due to weather? They can be, but I don't think you decide. I think the game decides based on weather. So, I mean, Anana, do I think I actually go after a winning start? What are the pressures that come with trying to combine short-term success with a long-term vision? I think that's probably a new question. But again, a lot of these questions I was familiar with, so I flicked through. I don't know if you wanted me to pause over those questions. I suspect you probably don't care. Let's get into our match, Benny boy. Let's see something go on. Do I press this? Because this is different. I think I actually look at this. Yes, I did. So, the pre-match briefing screen in the chat. Did you use it last year? I know the answer. No, you probably didn't. It looks different. It looks, again, it looks better. Does this make you want to use it more? Select an area to emphasize. I think I demonstrate that like it is useful in some degree. I wasn't really sure. I was someone also that didn't use it, but it gives you drop-down menus now to offer up ideas and what you want to say. So I think what I do is change it to positive mentality and then say to them, you know, we're playing in a positive manner. Let's get out there and do it. Again, this is just like a I think is this a league game or a pre-season game? I can't remember. Too much hassle. Basically, in summary, not many of you used it. I think it's there for a reason. I think it could be really good. I think it's probably hugely underused as a feature. But yeah. I think there's a reason for that as well, to be fair. I'm sure there's some people that use it though, right? I was just having a gander. It gives them a happiness boost. Yeah, That's pretty much it. I like that people think shouts are OP. So yeah, I tell them I want to be positive. Thumbs up everywhere. The majority of the squad agree with the tactical approach. This approach suits the way suits the team being favourite. So it was balanced, and I changed it for this game to positive because I figured that would work, and they loved it. So I thought I'd give that a whirl. You can see me hovering over it like I can't believe it. I don't think there's much else here. No. So yeah, it is an Eredivisie game. Again, like some of these screens, very similar to what we've seen before. But you've got to remember, scouting got a big up. Like these cards, was it last year, the year before? Got an overhaul, and they're really good. And again, there's not really much I want to change on these. Like, maybe, so for you've got scout report, you've got attributes, you've got position and role, and you've got medical. I kind of wish there was a performance one, maybe, where it would give you more like information on how he's performed maybe last year or that season. I would quite like that. I know you can still find that out, but I would maybe like it on those cards. I think that would be cool. I would like that. So it's just been flicking through a few bits and bobs. Nothing major. But Ajax, by the way, if you're looking for like a youth save, like, and you want a really good set of regens or anything, or like yeah, well, obviously like new gens, regens, but equally like a really good youth academy, Ajax is the team. Ajax are unbelievably stacked when it comes to having like good youth players. It's crazy. Last Asturian or Asturian. You can absolutely set that up, by the way. I don't know if you know how, but you can get rid of all the scout reports. You can literally set it so you only get scout reports that you want. I think they have over 60 million Ajax. Obviously, there's quite a few sales at Ajax recently, but I'm pretty sure it's 60-something million. Tried to find out, just ended up deleted everyone. Never looked at it again. But, yeah. But there is a way to set that up. Do I move? Okay. Some match engine footage. It's what you've all been waiting for. And this allows me now to talk about the match engine, really. People have this idea, and I hate this. Ben, pick a bench. Please pick a bench. People have this idea, right, that the match engine was built X amount of years ago, so it is the same match engine as it was years ago, right? In the same way that when Ferrari make a new car, they might use an engine that they've used in previous cars, but they will have made modifications to the engine, right? And a game works in the same way, right? Like, so the idea that the engine that was brought in for, so I guess people are saying like FM14 is the same as this year's engine is bollocks. That's just bollocks. Because it's just not. Like, think about the amount of like new player roles that have come in, the amount of new instructions that have come in, the way that like there are now set systems that have to play against each other. They can't not do anything to the engine because it would just break. Like, it doesn't work like that. That's not how, like, the engine is always updated. Is it a brand new engine? No. Do you know how much time and effort that would take? It's an engine that has been built upon for years and years. Like, look at the way FIFA operate right now with Frostbite. They're not just going to make a new engine every year. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to make one every 3 years, probably every 4 years. But to say they're not going to make like modifications to the engine is bollocks. So if you hear people say that, just go, well, no. It's like it's built off the same principles, but but it's different. In the same way, well, and a big change to this year, as you'll see in a moment, is the animations. Now, this was a early-ish build of the engine and of the animations, but the animations, to me, and hopefully it comes across in this, hopefully the quality is good enough for you to see it, the way that players control the ball and pass the ball and the fluidity in which that happens feels so much better than last year. So much better than last year. Oh! I've not had anyone mention this. I'm going to reveal it. And admittedly, again, subject to change. This is an early build, right? But you know the highlights at the start of the game that go to nothing, and the highlights at the end of the game that end up going to nothing? They've gone. That's not a thing anymore. Now, it might end up being a thing, but they've gone. There is not this build-up at the start of games that then leads to nothing. And I should clarify, if you've got it on, no more kickoff highlights and such, right? Yeah, there you are, look. So he's confirmed that. Yeah, so and at the end of games, if nothing's happening at the end of the game will just end. There will not be I must see the final whistle being blown, which I personally, as a creator, like and dislike, because it was quite a good indicator of when I get to wrap up an episode. But yeah, that's made that a bit more challenging. But that is potentially just on key highlights, as you point out. Yeah. But I like that. I like that as a thing. Some of these shadows are a bit off. We will ignore the shadows. I did not need to know about this. I've played for years. It told me about the timeline of the match. I think that got an X from me on that one. I was like, I don't need this. That didn't look great. What am I doing here? Faffing about? So at this point, I thought, oh, they've still got the beginning. What do you call it? They've still got the beginning highlight, which I was a bit like, oh god, really? We're wasting our time with this, and then I may or may not score. So, but yeah, the way, as I say, the way like that pass there. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? But as soon as I saw that, I was like, I've never seen them do that pass before. You may have seen it in the game, but this crossfield pass inside here, like the gap to get this through. I feel like I've not seen that pass before. Again, could be completely wrong. Not in that way anyway. Not in that particular fashion. Maybe I'm reading too much into one good pass. This was making me a bit unnerved because of poor heading. And I didn't love this goal. But you can see there the way Van den Beek gets it and gives it. Like Van den Beek's key. Ball out there. Really fluid motion. That bit not great. But the way that he gets it here and he controls it and then passes it. It just looks nice and neat and tidy this year. I should clarify, that's my video, that's not their game. I can only apologise to their game, it flipped back. That was not their game, that's my video. And bang, goal. Matt Honky Lips, thank you. I could probably go back and prove that was not their game by watching it again. For the 15th time, viewers. I know you want to see this heading sequence over and over again. And the way it sort of deflects out neatly to us. But yeah, it was, just to clarify that, it was not the game. It was me. There's certainly more fluidity this year, and players certainly do things with, as I say, more fluidity. Like it just flows far better. It flows far better. Thank you, Matt. I don't know if the FM live stream showed this particularly well, but I think it was something we all agreed with, that like the way the engine flows and moves. And again, this was a few versions ago, I'm led to believe, so we may well see some advancements, which would be exciting. Because again, this is not beta, so that's good. I mean, that's a clearance over the top. Good save by the keeper. The keeper animations are a lot different. I absolutely think I'm allowed to say that they've changed a lot of the animations, hence they look different. This is not the beta. This is an early access alpha. This is not the beta. This is me now just flicking through some of the camera angles, apparently. But yeah, the goalkeeping animations are better. They're not perfect. Again, I say it in my video, right? When we see this engine and we talk about this engine, we have to, and they won't appreciate me saying this, but we can only compare it to FIFA, right? And we can only compare it to games that are football simulators in the same fashion, and they are a million miles away from one another. 2D doesn't look completely like this. The advertising boards are missing, and they have been added in, which is annoying because I quite like this. But yeah, 2D looks largely the same as it has done previously. Keves! Get him some dings in there, viewers. But yeah, I thought I'd get a bit of 2D so you could see it as well. What a goal. Loving life. You can turn off goal line technology. Yes, you can turn off goal line technology replays in the replays thing. Did I not show that properly? I don't know if I did. Do I go on it in a moment, or... I don't know if I did or not. I should probably pause on that. But yeah, the replay events, you can turn off certain replays. One of those being goal line tech. So if you're bored of the keeper stopping it on the line and things like that. One, it shouldn't happen as much this year. But yeah, it's a thing. So player dots might be a bit smaller. Yeah, maybe. I've not tested that. Do all goal line tech replays show as a denied goal, or is there variability in FM20? Didn't play it enough to know, Roshi. I'm sorry. So I can't. For things I don't know, I'm not going to lie to you all and say, oh, I think so, or I don't know. I'm just going to say I don't know. Are hashtag United in this year's game? I suspect they exist. I mean, they'll definitely be in the database, but they're not playable because they're not in a division that FM has built. In short, this is quite slow because I was playing in obviously the 3D, but I want to look at 2D. I do go back to 3D. I just wanted to enjoy 2D for a bit, but I know no one's really bothered. Also, something that's new, I guess you can call it new. It's different anyway, whether you can call it new, is that the colours for like positive and negative body language are now more defined. So it's red if it's not good, and it's green if it's good, and it's white if it's in the middle. So how can teams be in the database but not playable? Well, because the database is huge. Obviously, they've got to be ready for if teams come up and get promoted into the National League. So they want to have like a background and a definition for those teams, but they obviously aren't in the game. That's how they can be in the database but not playable. Hopefully that was a good enough explanation. Who's that? Ruining my day. Database as in searchable, correct. Oh, this is new. They don't stay there forever, but they track player movement now. If that's the sort of thing that you're curious about, you can just do it for one team. But they do fade as well. Ain't new. It is. There was something similar last year, but not the same. No, that's alright. I wouldn't think you were complaining. Why can't they make the teams playable if they're already in the game? Because they don't have the entire league fixed, and they don't have the licenses to those leagues. They also have to then have a researcher for every single team in those leagues. And the lower down you get, the less likely you are to find someone who is willing to do that job. That's not ideal. I mean, I enjoyed watching it happen. There's a good bit of 3D here. I think I watched this 100 times, so yeah, not a highlight. But look, the fluidity generally is really good. That defender doesn't know which team he plays for, but I enjoyed it. It was a good finish. Movement, I don't think was there. Heat map was definitely there. Can confirm. I'm pretty sure. You see, you made me second guess now, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't there. Is the pitch getting dirtier throughout the game? Yes. What a finish. Yes, it is. It's becoming more marked. And they've had it for a while, but dynamic weather is still a thing as well. It can be raining in the first half and not raining in the second half, for example. As this game will surely be over. I've dominated, to be fair. 3-0 to the Goose. But yeah, I do think the flow of this year's game far better. We'll get to some more 3D engine stuff at some point. little bit bouncy around there, but whatever. But yeah, again, similar. Lots of screens are the same, which I know is going to frustrate people. But I'm very much of the opinion that there isn't always a point in changing it for the sake of changing it. I don't care about those as much as you do. So yeah. So are you enjoying the fact we're doing this as a stream? Is this like is this a fun experience? Is it quite or is this very similar to what FM did last week or earlier this week? I imagine it's probably a mix of the two. Does weather have a more noticeable impact? Define noticeable. Weather does have an impact in games, and people don't really talk about it, but it definitely does have an impact. We're not playing. Post commentary is better. Got you. It also allows me to answer questions whenever I want, and I can skip forward and through. I tried to get some footage of the way Regen Day works now. Regen Day is... Well, there isn't a Regen Day, really. There is and there isn't a Regen Day. Because it's based on a 4-month period now, not on a 1-day event. I can't stop watching. I think this is me showing other people at this point. Aha! We go to the development center. Right, here we go. Development center introduction. Pause. So, at the top, I'll read what it says for guidance. This is your at-a-glance look at everything to do with player development at the club. It's broken down into key areas to give you the information you need when you need it. Now, I talked about this in the video. Thanks, Dine Pie. Brilliant. Can you not be so... Like, come on, behave yourself. This year, the way that someone mentioned it before, where's the B team, where's the under-19s, like on the left-hand side? This year, it feels like you're managing a club rather than necessarily just managing. Like, people asked about like managing youth teams and things like that, right? It feels like you manage every player in the club now, rather than just managing your squad for your first 11 or your 18 with subs or whatever. You know what I mean? It feels like you're very much now aware of everyone that is part of the club and where they fit into the ladder of your club. And that's something I think is really nice. Like, it's something that I think we've lacked for a long time. That I would, like, the under-23s or whatever it would be, the reserve teams, were a bit of an afterthought. And it's where I would send players that were young who would be loaned out, but I didn't really care about their progress. It wasn't front and centre. I could go and find it, but I had no impact. But now, we have things like one to watch and needs attention. Obviously, when you go through a season, these change dramatically over the course of the year, but right now there's not much to speak of because we're at the very start of a save game. And first team candidates plays a part in that as well. And of course, so when you start with all these younger players, eventually the more they progress and develop, you will want to bring them through to your first team. Now, there is an argument, and I totally understand that you could do that anyway, right? Okay, like, I get that you think you're being hilarious, mate, but I'm so bored of your shit, it's unbelievable. I would time you out, but I'm just going to get rid because you're being a knob. Thanks for coming, though. So, Throne now. Cheers, mate. Yeah, you can still put forward... Allow me to just do this. You can still put forward players whenever you like. You don't have to wait for them to become first-team candidates and things like that, right? But at the same time, you're now given more advice on if players are ready or should be in the first team and things like that. The only thing I think's missing from this, and I would like to see, is almost like a surplus to requirements, like column, where you have players that are not needed and are not good enough, but they're in a section where it sort of tells you that, but that's not really there. I don't believe they appear in needs attention and things like that. So, yeah, like for older players that like aren't good enough, or players that you've maybe been promoted for 3 seasons and they're not really good enough, I kind of wish there was something to say, look, it's time to move on, Ben. You know, that's what I would quite like. Right. So, yeah, I think at this point I'll probably show you the Ajax under-19s, who are bloody outrageous, frankly. So again, you've got your players out on loan, and it gives you a bit of an overview of that. Your B team, average squad, the group of youngsters here. Obviously, it's the B team. It's not necessarily like the academy. And the under-19s, very strong squad there. There are a group of youngsters here who are close to being ready for the first opportunities. We have a good number of players with great potential. This is a squad that provides real excitement for the future. They're not wrong. Like, it is crazy good. And I'm hoping that I show you that. These are our best young players right now, the closest to the first team, and ones that should perhaps pay the closest attention to. Again, as you play through a save, they will develop. And this is what I mean, right? If you see this straight away, and you come to this screen, and you think, I'm only going to play this for a year. I said this in the video, right? This is so underwhelming. Like, oh god, there's nothing here. It's a new screen, and I've got no players worth knowing, no players worth knowing. Great, right? But if you are a long-term player of the game, this will be like one of your go-to. You'll be on this screen every week almost to check player development and things like that. I think I've got another video somewhere where I can showcase that. So bear with me. Again, you've got your loan suggestions. I went through that a bit quick. If you are, maybe you didn't even know this existed, but this screen has existed similarly before. You've now got this bit on the right hand side which shows the morale of the players, the loan happiness, the playing time, the agreed playing time. So you've got all of that in there as well. And obviously where they're loaned out, how they're doing, average rating. I didn't check actually, but I wonder if I could do more and right click some of these to add in different bits. I can't remember, and obviously there's other bits of information too. And who's tracking the players. Things like that. Did I check the attribute for the youth players? Apparently I don't look at it yet. Or do I? Yeah, I do. I must do. So, okay, so first things first. You may have seen this before, but I'll talk through it anyway. Every year, in March, a match is organised with teams made up of the players from our youth academy to help us determine which of them we want to keep at the club. When this happens, I will alert you and invite you to attend the game. Around December, this will be different for different places, remember, but in Europe generally. Around December, you will get a set of information which gives you an update on those players. What I'm going to really quickly do, I hope you don't mind if I'm doing this, folks, I'm going to splash you quickly. And I'm going to find that video somewhere so I can show you it. Because I think there'll be a demand for that. Okay, yes. As if it was planned, right? Are we there? Is it me again? Right. So yeah, on that right hand side, what we'll try and do with this one, right? We'll make this bigger so we can all read it together. So you can see this is around. So this is December 31st now. So it's the 20th. I don't think FM Stream will have shown this because they didn't go far enough in. So you have the 2020 Youth Candidates Preview. At least one of our centre-backs looks promising. There's an attacking mid... don't play on, Ben! No! No. We're trying to read. But graphs, we'll look at those as well. There is an attacking midfielder we should keep a very close eye on. One of our wingers looks like a handy prospect. We have a forward who could be considered a fine prospect. We have one good young Spanish midfielder, attacking midfielder, striker from Cartagena, who has caught the eye. There's an excellent group of players coming through. We don't have any number of players coming through in any single position. We haven't had any new wing-backs coming through. Full-backs are coming through, not the best. As well as some other midfielders that aren't doing very well. But yeah, so you get a bit more information. Now, as I say, we're a little bit further into the future. So we're going to skip ahead in time very briefly here. I hope you don't mind. Because what I did here was then look at some of the development stuff. Right, so now... in their under-19s, we have all the players that are in here. You can see some of them are very, very good. These are not candidates, by the way. These are real players that exist at the start of the game. But you can see how they're developing. So this chap here, Nachi, maybe, is starting to decline a little bit. The majority of these Ajax players are getting better. And I think that's a really nice thing to see. Development advice, they're all progressing well in training. And things like this. Obviously, you've got your staff there. You can see how they're doing. So they're second in the Dutch Under-19s Group 1, 1-11, drawn 5+1. So it's looking really good. And it shows you what they're playing as well. So they're using the system that we're using in our first team. But of course, you can change that if you want to. It's up to you, really. But I was just looking through a few of the youngsters. Like, considering these guys are like 16, some of them are going to be outrageously good. And again, the same applies to the B team. You have the exact same thing for the B team, who are in the tier 2 of Holland. But is it like something they do all year, or just in the off season, or in March they did in FM? Oh, sorry. Yeah, in real life, do clubs do their youth recruiting? Does anyone know? It happens all year round. Pershers. We had him at Villa in that save I did. So yeah, this is now December, so we've gone a little bit further into the season. Like, you might be looking at this going, Ben, mate, you're 6th. I think our best thing to do at this juncture of you is just to ignore that fact. Really. We want to go back to this one. There we go. I'm not sure how deep in we were, but we were quite deep in, right? Ah, yes, around here. About there. So that's more realistic. Essentially, yeah. Again, things like this, very similar to last year. Slightly more information on that side, but again, pretty similar. I spent a long time on this screen, apparently. There we go. Okay, but we mentioned it before, look, you're starting to get already, actually. We saw some first team candidates there of players that are out on loan. So if you've got young players that you think maybe could be more of a regular fixture, but you want to loan them out to begin with, they'll tell you if they're getting to the point where actually they should be considered for the first team. And you've got a couple of guys there who are currently in the B team but are also out on loan in other places. I think one of them was at PSV. Orejula, I think it's how you say it. He's at PSV, I think. I'm curious, for those that have been watching all morning, or all afternoon I should say, for the last hour or so, has this made you feel better about the game, worse about the game, the same? I'm going to wait to see what people say. I'm curious. How do you feel about the game now? Do you feel like you've learned something that you didn't know previously? Or do you feel like I'm going over similar things? I don't know. No, let me know. I want to know if I'm doing a good job as a streamer. Or not really. It's not my... I will be clear, it's not my job to sell the game to you. It's my job to talk about the game as I saw it, really. So let's see what people have said. Indifferent, seen everything already, very excited for the beta. The same, still underwhelmed. It feels like an honest... So, last Asturian, what did you want this year that you haven't got? Because I want to know. It feels like an honest intro, at least. Quality of life is much better than I thought. It really is. It really, really is. Excited over the small improvements. Feeling good. I was hyped before, but with all the videos, the stream, feel really good about the game. We'll buy it after patch 20.3. Excited. Good info. Need to get my hands on. I'm glad they don't just add features for the sake of it. Don't change something if it ain't broke. Indifferent about the game. Learning things is amazing. Thanks for doing this. Not a problem. I'm excited by the new features, but that's based on you taking on the colour while it's based on videos too. Looks much more innovative than I thought before, but I still don't plan on getting it. You're allowed that. I want FIFA graphics. You're going to pick it up anyway. Matchday events, like the same, pretty similar. Intrigued, seems to remember SI releasing stats about every average game length being fairly short, but the majority of changes are geared towards long-term play. I'm not sure I can say anything with Cresta Kit, so I won't. But you're not wrong or right. I think I can say that. Like, it's one of them. Really enjoying this. Lovely stuff. Don't know, I feel like they keep wasting their time adding pointless aspects to the game. Yeah! But last asked you, Ryan, what do you want? Tell me. The clever vision stuff you explained well. Better than the stream I did. That makes sense a bit more. Pumped. Overall, judge it on the match engine though. Yeah, fair. Match day events look the same as previous versions. Looks more streamlined and easier to play than to manage for FM novices like myself. I would agree with that as well. Okay, let's keep going. I'm not going to go for too much longer because I don't want to bog myself down forever. But I do feel like I'm doing a decent job. You've put me on the spot, Ben. You've had years to think of it. You've had all year. When you talk about FM20, what were you hoping would be in it? But this is sort of my point, right? You can't. There's not one thing that I'm sort of pulling your leg a little bit here, because I know it's hard for you to then go, I want this, and this. But equally, there aren't really like, for example, one thing I was like, I think training improvements last year were really good. I wish they'd gone further. I wish there was like drill examples we could select from for certain things. I know it's going to have to make the game a lot more in depth, but like shooting, like I would like to focus on things like power finishing or placement and things like that. I would like finishing to be slightly more defined, and the same with passing. Like I would want to know what sort of passing we're doing, and maybe be able to see. So at the start of the game, when you see how tactics work, do you know what I mean? When they show like the gegenpress and they have all the dots and the ball, and you can see the way that the ball moves up and how chances are created. I wish we could have something similar for tactics. Like I think that would be really cool. You've asked me to review training. It's the same as last year. You can now train goalkeepers, but it's the same as. But all in all, it's the same as last year. But yeah, you can now train goalkeepers. Are you playing here? Yeah. You find FM touch too breezy, FM too in depth. The reality is, let's talk about this, because I think this is something that no one really talks about. Polish, focus on improving transfer AI and animations. Well, animations have been improved. Remove the pointless stuff like social media. It's interesting you think it's pointless. I'm not saying I agree or disagree, but it's interesting that you think it's pointless. Transfer AI, we still don't really know if it's improved. We're not going to know until we're a few years in. But I think it's better than... so far from what I've seen, it appears better than last year, but we'll see. Interesting thoughts though, gang. Genuinely. Let's keep going. There's a no emote rule. Is there a no emote rule? I mean, I can see it, so... I like the improvements, but I'm not buying this year. I think it'll be a step forward. Much more satisfiable when I'm buying 2021. I guess I need to use the staff responsibilities better. Well, that's it, really. That's what I was going to say. Like, most people who play the game are quite casual people who play the game. They're not like hardcore players that want to go in depth, and they still buy it every year, right? There is this idea that you don't have to do everything for it to work. You can keep tactics quite basic. You can just focus on transfers. You can get your staff to deal with things like training and the responsibility screens, to say, are a lot more detailed, a lot more explanative, explorative. Better with explanation. One of those. They also keep adding stuff that is just annoying. For instance, here we are, the player promises. I don't feel like I've ever gained because of them. They just make players complain. I feel like the need to add things to be more realistic, but it doesn't always make the game more fun. Again, I'm not gonna. I don't really agree or disagree. So yeah. If you weren't a content creator, would you buy every year? Yeah. My evidence for that is that I bought it for 10 years, 15 years before I created videos. So yeah, I would. Didn't Miles say that just under 50% of people that played the game week 1 played it last week or something? I don't know how you would have heard that otherwise, so let's just say yes, right? I realise I say like this, there was a screen there that I was like semi-talking about a moment ago. So you have some of your briefing stuff. Again, our details are limited. But I would like this sort of screen here to be used within training, so I can see what sort of things they are training. I think that would be cool. Again, you've got like a scout report on the opposition, which looks very like similar to last year, but it's different. Do you know return to work better this year? It's not something I've had enough time to say, so I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know. Did they fix the issue where the whole league team will continue to play a defensive tactic? That is something I can answer, weirdly. AZ asked, did they fix the issue where the whole league teams will continue playing defensive tactics? It's like they have no drive to win or ambition. That is something that has changed this year, in that not every single team you play, especially if you're a better team, will defend every single time. There is, and that goes into the end, and that's why when people talk about the engine being the same, they're talking bollocks, because it's changed to the fact that there's a more fluid style this year. The changes to the engine, allow it to not necessarily be like that. I can't give you like specific examples, but I know that our focus this year was the game to be more fluid. So, yeah. Obviously, you will be the judge of that, and you will see. And when you've got a 3-year save, you can decide if that's changed or not. But, yeah. You've never done any training apart from individual roles, and I feel like it's never affected me. But that's kind of what I mean, isn't it? That if you're a casual player, like, you're not bothered. I personally would quite like it, though. I feel like it would make me want to use training more still. I think training's much improved, and there are points in which I will go in and I will alter and change little bits and pieces, but generally, it's one of those things in the game, isn't it, where you feel like, I don't need to touch this, so I'm not going to touch this. It's one of those. It's one of those. I'm curious what you think, gang, because I said at the start of the stream that I wasn't going to upload this to YouTube. I've been playing copyright-free music the whole time. Shall I upload it? Is this sort of thing people you think would like to watch through and see? I'm now debating uploading it. By the way, that was a load of poppycock right there. Alright, well, that's a wall of text. I will get to that in a moment. Tiny change I really like is new graphical styles with 2D kits they're using when implemented in my work, but they will look much improved. You will know far more about that than me, my man. I want a full management simulation game, and in that there is going to be stuff that is relative. Hang on, let me start again. I want a football management simulation game, and in that there is going to be stuff that, to me, a relative layman in what. The problem I'm having is people keep talking and the texts move. I'll scroll up a bit. What it actually involves being a football manager. I do feel like we get that, so any stuff that hang on. So I don't know if it's your writing or my ability to read, which is the problem. I'm going to read it in my head. Anything that you feel is irksome and not important, I think there is a football manager would have to do, and they will fill out problems. So what you're essentially saying is you want it to be a game, and you're not as bothered about being like a football manager, but you accept that a football manager still has to do those things that you find irksome, annoying, pointless, but you just wish it wasn't in the game necessarily. Is that what you're getting at? Maybe edit it. So I feel like it's been quite concise, so I'm not sure I will edit it. Pretty much, yeah, got you. How do they find the balance then for that? That's the question, isn't it? Tadic. Bang. Quite light in the game. All this FM20 talk just makes me want to load up FM19 and suck off the rest of the day. So tomorrow I might upload this just as a stream, talking about the game. That might be what we do tomorrow. I think it's quite good. So if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to drop it a like if you're enjoying it. But yeah, the gameplay is certainly more fluid than it's been in previous years. And I do think the way that players control, and like, that was a really good example of it, I will say. That right there was a super good example of the way players control the ball and move the ball on. Nah, FM19 is dead to me. But you can see just the way the control here with Van der Beek, you can see it. And then a nice little pass through, the way he sort of shuffled with the ball. Do we know what I'm talking about there when he does it? Like, that to me is a completely new animation. The player I'm talking about is this guy here. I can't click his name. I assume it's Huntelaar, right? The way he gets the ball, holds it, shuffles back, plays him through, and Van der Beek should probably score. Like, I like that. I really like that. Because before, and I'll tell you what the difference was last year, right? Before, the ball would go into his feet, he would stop, turn, and just kick it through. And it'd either get through or it'd just bounce off. Like, it was proper hold-up play, that. That's what I'm getting at. It was proper hold-up play. Rather than just, like, get it, turn round. Like, first touches have made the game flow way better, so. I also accept there's hundreds of ways to play the game, and in turn, hundreds of ways to enjoy it. So my way to someone would be stupid. Yeah, no, I totally get what you mean. But the way I'm talking about it is just, like, the way that I play it and enjoy it, right? So there's that as well. What about throw-ins? Will they throw to the teammates? In theory, they should, yeah. I suspect so. Danny Olmo, by the way. He's not bad. He's not bad. Okay, actually, no, we can look at Chalobah. He's legal. Denzel Dumfries. Basically, what I was doing at this point was I realised that I was Ajax, so I should just try and get anyone I want. PSV, they don't want to sell Bergwijn to Ajax, hence the fee that they first suggest. By the way, people will think that's broken. I don't think that's broken. I just think they're just saying, just go away. You could probably still get him for like 70 million or something, but you wouldn't, would you, as Ajax? But yeah, I was basically seeing which players didn't play for me, and if any of them would be worth getting. I think I look at Malin here, but he's not amazing, is he? But again, they're not really willing to sell him to me. So the starting pitch looks a bit odd. I mean, yeah. I guess it's to make it look like it's going down the pitch. So, one of them. This is just me just looking through Dutch players now. Now, contract negotiation. One that actually works. You can see Ajax, by the way, start there. 68 million to spend. So if you're looking for a side with a lot of money, who are good in the Champions League, amazing youth, Ajax are your boys. If I was to do a top teams to manage, Ajax would absolutely be on it. 21 million got it done. They got a lot of the next sale. Too much, if anything. But, yeah. You'll see. We'll go to this contract in a moment, and we'll just... At this point, I'm just waiting to see what it's like. So you get to this point here. So you can either let Mark Overmars do it, and he will sort out the contract, which I think's been a thing for a while now. But yeah, start negotiations. The expectations are that he wants to be an important player, despite being quite young. And his wages, of course, in there as well. Southampton interested. So the playing time feature is completely new. I'm not even sure I pay much attention to it. We'll see. Maybe I do. But you can now set the playing time for future years. I think when I suggest the contract, he then comes back to me with another contract. But I really want to actually sign a player. You've also got the patience bar now as well, so that's cool. Ajax are always on those lists. I mean, they are, but there's a reason for that, I guess. More so now they've had a few players leave. So he was very happy. I didn't have to do anything for you. I basically had to say, you're an important player, and that was kind of it. Your contract starts 2019. That was all they had to do for like the negotiation stage. Obviously, we've not actually offered him a contract, so those are just the terms. So if we go to the actual contract, you can see you wanted a fair few things. Before, you would just have the contract. You now have your scout report to the right-hand side with how many matches have been watched. Obviously, when we get through this, and it actually becomes bright. So you can see you now have the scout report next to the transfer negotiation, as well as the situation with the agent. So I've been informed that Southampton are monitoring the situation regarding the availability of my client, and as they represent a very interesting option, a final decision may take longer than anticipated. So you already know you're not going to get the deal done like that. You're probably going to have to wait a week or two, you know? But yeah, I really like the fact this is all now just in one place. You've got your budget impacts down the bottom, which are set out clearer. So, yeah, we're good. I thought my whole computer had frozen there when I right-clicked that. Jesus Christ. I was thinking this mouse here, right, that I've now put my mouse over, I thought it just wasn't working. That was terrifying. I thought my whole computer's broken, Ben. What are you going to do? But yeah, clauses and things like that, a lot of them are exactly the same, I think, as previous years. I don't think there's any new ones. I could be wrong. They look the same. I think I go on clauses. I hope I go on clauses. But yeah, this is a new screen and it's nice. I like it. Again, obviously dark mode will a lot of these panels will be black. So yeah, clauses. Again, largely the same. I think all the same actually. But again, you don't really need there's not much to add to this. That's the problem. But that's why everyone that says, I want this, I ask them, well, what do you mean by this? What do you want? You know? There we are. Finalise that deal. Get it done. Is the music of a sort of like a decent enough volume? Can you hear it? I'm hoping it's not too loud. I think we should be good though. Potentially you can't even hear it. But hopefully it's just like their backgrounding, you know? Alright, I think what we're going to do is I'm going to leave that there because I may well do another stream where we look through a little bit more tomorrow. So we're going to wrap things up there. We're about, what, an hour and a half in? Yeah, see? It's all about timing. I do use the default skin, yeah. A default darkest sort of thing. Did I record it locally? I recorded it in the offices of Football Manager. Can confirm. But hopefully you enjoyed the stream. Thank you everyone who stopped by. Thank you to everyone that hit me with a follow. Alternatively, you subscribe to the stream. Of course, if you want to see more FM content, I'm going to be more regular with my FM stream, so make sure you're following, for heaven's sake. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again at another date. Probably sometime very soon. When FM20 officially drops, I'll be here. For anyone who wants to know when the beta is out, again, I will say it again. There is no beta date. It will be out when it's ready. Football Manager's Twitter account, Miles' Twitter account will let you know when that is. Nobody knows. Anyone that says they know is guessing. I don't know. If I did know, I couldn't tell you anyway, but nobody knows. It's one of them. Yeah, have a good evening. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for watching this afternoon. And remember, I've got a Spurs save coming up later. If you're on YouTube, thanks for watching on there as well. Do leave a like and yeah, subscribe for more as we get ever closer to the beta release date, whenever that is. We know it's in the future. We just don't know when. Goodbye, everyone. Bye, stream. Bye to everyone. We love with care. Goodbye. City Skyline, second channel. I'll do some content, I promise.